Hello, hi, this is Sherry with Sherry's Painting Pad, and I'm coming to you to paint the Ladybug for our Upward Bound group. Some of you on your Ladybugs, you may have your antennas already drawn on there. Some of you may not. It's totally fine, not a big deal either way. We'll be able to put those in there if you don't have them, okay? So the first thing I want to go over with you is each person should have two of the sponge painters right here. You should have a paintbrush also, and you should have the colors green, red, black, and a little bit of white, okay? You also may have a little circular dauber in your kit as well. This is to help you do your polka dots on the body itself, okay? So the first thing I want to do is we're going to paint the outer portion of our Ladybug, the leaves itself, in the green, okay? Well, if you want to stay till 4:30, you can go ahead and do the black ones the same way. That's up to you. Or if you're ready to go, you can go ahead and it's up to you. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to do the leaves out here. Everything outside of this initial Ladybug right here, we're going to paint it in the green. But first what I want to do is get my edges. So I'm going to get my edges in this green all the way around. All the way around. I'm going to work on getting my edging done. Like I said previously, if you happen to get some paint on the back side of your door hanger, it's totally fine. You can do one of two things. This is a totally reversible door hanger, so if you wanted to, you can paint on a rainy day if you get bored, a Ladybug on the back side. This would also make a really good sunflower if you wanted to do it as a sunflower on the opposite side. But if you didn't want to do that and the paint on the opposite side bothers you, you can always come in and paint that black and it will cover that up. It's totally up to you. It doesn't really bother me too much. However, whenever I do paint these to sell, if I get a lot of paint on the back side, I do like to go ahead and paint it for my customers, just simply because I don't know if they're putting it on a glass door or something like that. You know, most people don't want to look at something that doesn't really, it's not eye appealing through their glass door. I personally couldn't have a door hanger on a glass door, but that would just spook me out. I'd be constantly thinking somebody's at my door every time I looked at it. So anyways, I am getting my edges done. Now, if I get done before you do, don't worry. With this video, you should be able to pause it and come back and replay it. You should be able to do this at your own pace. At your own pace. We're going to do 2 coats of every color. So just know that you're going to paint this green. We're not going to do our edges but one time if you do it correctly and you get all of your edges. You only have to do your edges one time. But on the front face of it, we will paint it twice. Okay, so I have my edging all the way around in green. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start painting my leaves green. So I'm coming around my Ladybug's head. Starting at my Ladybug's head, and I'm going to paint this leafy area here in the green. This green's covering really well too, so. We may not have to do 2 coats of it because it is covering really well. Make sure you move that string out of your way. If you happen to get some in the body just a little bit. Don't worry about it too much because we are going to outline it, and it will hide and camouflage a lot of those little imperfections that you'll run into. So again, I'm just coming around here and I'm painting my leaf areas green, going around my ladybug. The paint, if it gets on your hands, your nails, hair, things like that, it will come off, but it does not come out of your clothing. You should have a disposable apron in your kit with you, so make sure you use that apron because the paint does not come out of cloth of any sort. So just know right off the bat that you will ruin your clothing if you try to paint without your apron on. So be careful with that. The entire leaf area here painted green right here on my ladybug. Okay, so I'm going to kind of set that to the side so that it can dry a little bit, so I can kind of get a better feel as to whether I'm going to need a second coat. But while that is drying, I am going to get my other sponge and I'm going to come over to my red. Now the red is going to go in the body itself. So in this section and in this section right here, we're going to do the red. We are not doing red on the head or on the tail part down here. Okay? And you can paint over that line. You should still be able to see the line whenever you paint over it. If you happen to go over into the head some, don't worry about it. That black will cover it up. All right, so I have my red on here. Very good. That's it. Good deal. All right, well, I'll see you tomorrow then. Thank you, dear. Appreciate you. All right, so I am going to go ahead and do a second coat of my green, I believe, in just, different places and whatnot, just sporadically over it. So I'm going to come in with my green, and I'm just going to kind of touch up some areas. Just go over it real quickly. Bye, Kaylee.
Okay.
See you in the morning. I'm just going around doing my second coats. You should have enough paint to do this with. If not, which, you know, like I said, you should, but if something happens and you don't happen to have just enough, then this green is called Christmas green at Walmart in the craft section. But I poured the same amount on my plate that I put in the cups. So you should have enough. Okay, it should be right there. All right, so now that I have my second coat of my green on there, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add my second coat of my red. And no, my red is not fully dry. That's okay, not a big deal. So now I have my second coat of red on here. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna go get me a hair dryer because I do want to dry this up before we go any further with it, okay? Is I'm gonna get my paintbrush out, and typically whenever we paint with our paintbrush, we paint with our brush flat like this, okay? However, I don't want us to paint with our brush flat. I want us to turn our brush to the side, like this, okay? Because that's going to give you a more thinner line right there. So we're going to come in, we're going to do some accents, and I want to start off with my white. And I'm just going to kind of come in right where I have those black lines in your leaves. I want to kind of accent those real quickly. So we're just going to kind of come right on top of those here. And if your green isn't 100% dry whenever you do this, don't worry about that, because we're just going to turn around and add green on top of this white once it dries. And that's just going to accent it a little bit. And I'm just going right over those black lines that are pre-drawn here. Make sure though that if you have one of the ones that has whiskers, or the antennas already on your ladybug drawing, don't do those. Don't do those. Do only the leaf part. Okay, and I will show you mine right here. And I realized that right after I had drawn a couple of them, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so confusing for some people. So I'm going to draw mine out and show you what it should look like without the whiskers. I keep saying whiskers, without the antennas. All right. So, like I said, mine had the antennas drawn on there. However, I don't want to do the white with the antennas, okay? So I'm just doing only the leaf portions right here, outlining those. And I want to get those really good and dry, because then we're going to turn around and we're going to go over those with green. And that's just going to be an accent right there. We get a cup of water, because you are going to need a cup of water to wash your paintbrush out. So I'm washing my paintbrush out in my cup of water. Got my paper towel. All right. So now that I've done that, I'm going to pinch the excess water off with my paper towel. And I'm going to come over here while that white is drying, and I'm going to paint my head and my tail on my ladybug. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to outline the tail. Just going to outline it. You can see right there where I have the two dots, that's the tail. And I just did a quick black outline. So now I'm going to paint it in. Okay. All right. And then I'm going to come here to the head, and I'm just going to outline my head. And the only reason I prefer to outline it before painting, it just kind of helps me to make sure that I keep the paint where it's supposed to be and not it going into a color that it doesn't need to go into. Once I get done doing that, I will paint the inside of my ladybug's head. Very good. So your ladybug ultimately should be looking like this at this point. And again, if you're not here yet, this video should be able, you should be able to pause it, restart it, be able to paint this at your own pace. Okay? So the next step that we're going to do is we're going to do black polka dots inside our ladybug's body. Now, your kit came with a circular daubler to where you can just dip it into the paint and then take it to your ladybug's body, set it down, twist it just a little bit, and pick it straight back up, and you'll have a polka dot. I don't have any more of those daubers here with me, so I'm going to do it free-handed. And if you decide you want to do yours free-handed, this is how we go about doing that. The number one thing is don't overthink it. If you overthink it, you're going to mess it up, always. Another thing is take your time. Practice on a piece of paper with the paintbrush before you actually take it to your drawing, okay? Because I'd rather you mess up a piece of paper than to mess up your drawing itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is, and I'm going to kind of turn it this way so you can see while I'm doing this, I'm going to just kind of do the letter C and pick my brush up, okay? So as you can see there, I did the letter C and then I picked my brush up. Now at this point, I'm going to get some more paint on my brush. I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to do a backwards C. Right there. I have a circle. Now I'm just going to simply fill it in. Okay? Now your polka dots does not have to match my polka dots. If you want yours bigger, make them bigger. If you want them smaller, make them smaller. It's completely up to you. No big deal. If you want to put yours in a different area than what I have mine in, okay. That's no problem at all. So I'm just going to kind of come here and I'm going to do my polka dots. And like I said, practice on a piece of paper if you want to freehand it. Do that before you take it to your drawing. But if you have a circular Doppler and you want to use that, you're welcome to. So I'm just going to come here and I'm going to put in polka dots all over my ladybug's body. I have a couple of areas where I want half a polka dot at, so I'm going to kind of like this right here. So I'm going to do half of one. Mine to be mixed in sizes, and I really don't like them to be geometrically correct. I like them to be more scattered, but that's just me, so you do your polka dots any way you wish to. Alright, so I have my polka dots all over my ladybug. Now, again, if you're still working on this, you can pause it, whatever you like to do, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wash out my paintbrush because I want to go over my white lines that I did on my green. Wash that out. My green here, and I'm just going to real quickly just go over these white lines, and it's just going to give it kind of a highlight. awesome. Okay, so this is what I was talking about with your highlights. They're no longer white, they're like a little minty green right there, okay? Very good. So I'm going to wash the green out of my brush. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline my ladybug, okay? And again, we're doing this with our brush on our side. Doing it with our brush on our side. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to start in the center part of my head. And I'm just going to come around. I'm going to go around his body. Up his tail. Right here, the center line that comes down the center of his back. I'm going to connect that line to his tail. Then I'm going to come over to the center part of his head, and I'm going to do the same thing to this side. All right, I'm going to go up his tail. All right, now that I have my ladybug fully outlined here, I'll show you here, got it fully outlined. I'm going to come here and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do my antennas, which is just up and a twirl. And let me tell you, you can always draw it with a pencil before you do it with your paintbrush. If you're unsure as to how to do your antennas, you can always draw it with a pencil before you do it with a paintbrush, okay? All right, so now at this point, I have my outline for my leaves. I'm just gonna kind of come in with the black, and I'm gonna do some real quick outlines here. And that's just to kind of give you an idea. As you can see, they're broken up. It's very sporadic. It's just little black detail lines inside your leaves. And that's just to give it some more detail. And again, if you're unsure as to where you want it to be, you can always do it with a pencil. The only thing is when you do it with a pencil, you have a tendency, most people have a tendency to do the whole outline. And I really would like it to be more broken up and more whimsy. Alright, so I have all of that done on my ladybug right here. Okay. Got my ladybug done right here like that. Very good. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is I am going to get the hairdryer on here because I do want it to be good and dry before I do anything else. You can personalize this. If you decide that you want it personalized, you have a couple options here. If you have enough green left over, you can personalize it in the green, but you're going to need to do your initial or whatever you want to do in white first, because you have red and black right here, so the green isn't really going to show up that well, and it's not going to look good. So if you have enough green left over, you can do it in that. You can do it in white itself, but if you do it in white, you're going to need a couple coats of it. You could even do it in black and outline it in white. What I'm going to do is first, I'm going to come in and I'm just going to add in a few white accent lines inside my leaves. We're accenting those again. And again, this is going to be even more sporadic than the black was. It's just little hints. I just want to do little hints of the white. And if that's not something that you want to add to yours, by all means, this is your creation. You do not have to do this portion of it, okay? But I'm going to show you what it would look like if you did. And this is like I said, these lines are even more sporadic than the black. It's very choppy. Right here. It's very choppy. Okay? If you don't want to do that, you don't have to do that. It's completely up to you. Alright, while I have the white on my brush, I am going to come in my tail. I'm just going to put in a few little accents in the head and in the tail portion right there. Okay? Alright, and then I'm going to dry it. Black, I think. Now, one thing to keep in mind, it's going to hang to the side like this a little bit. So when you go to personalize it, you do need to keep that into your mind whenever you're doing that. Okay, so I know it's going to hang like that, so I'm going to set mine like that in front of me. What do I want to personalize? What do I want to put on it? I don't want to do welcome. I don't want to do hey y'all. I think I'm going to do hello. Okay? So I'm going to do hello. Alright, let's see here. I'm going to do hello right going across it. Alright, I'm going to dry that. In the black, you can't really see it very well, simply because it's in the black. And so yeah, you can't really see it very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my white, and I'm going to outline or do accent lines inside my hello. So now you can see my hello, okay? But I'm not still completely happy with it, so I'm going to kind of come in and I'm going to add some little white accent lines inside of my polka dots. Just because I feel like it could use a little something extra. And that's just me. That's just what I did. It's, you know, you don't have to do yours any particular way. This is yours. You do your creation the way you want it to be done. Okay? So anyways, this is my Ladybug. And remember, if you decide that you want to personalize it in a red or a green, you're going to have to paint it white first. And then it's probably going to take a couple of coats of the other colors before you get it to where you want it to be. If you want to do it in white, it's going to take a couple of coats or you can do it in black like I did, whatever it is that you want to put on there, and then outline it with the white, and that will help show that up. But anyways, like I said, this is our Ladybug. I hope you have enjoyed painting this with me, and I appreciate it, and you guys have a wonderful summer. Thank you.